South Africa's Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola, has denied the recent visit by the Democratic Alliance to Washington, D.C. was intended to represent South Africa. He clearly stated that only two individuals can represent South Africa in international relations. That's the president and himself. He said, and I quote, "The DA went there on their own. Whatever they achieved cannot be attributed to the South Africa." End quote. Now in more news. Now for more on this, we are joined by Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, a political analyst from South Africa. Ntsikelelo, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. Now, I'm being told that we have a little piece of visual from South Africa on the matter. We're going to take that after, but let me first ask you these very interesting questions here. What was your immediate thoughts when you heard about the Democratic Alliance working visit to Washington, which International Relations Department say they have no knowledge of?
It's an interesting turn of events, even though I'm not taken aback by it, because it's not the first time they've gone to the US or to a country that is part of the global north to report the country for what it claims it does. Remember, in the build-up to the general elections last year, they also reported South Africa for a possible rigging of elections, and nothing of the sort happened. So because of what they stand for in terms of their outlook, they are aligned to the countries of the global north, because their thinking and their ideological orientation emanates from the global north. No wonder they find comfort there. But I think this was maybe the last straw that broke the camel's back in the GNU. Remember, they've got a government of national unity that they're part of. Because why would you go and report a government that you are part of? I understand that the issue of foreign policy has been a bone of a contention. But the issue that they are arguing about is the issue of the land reform, the land question, the land policy that they disagree with, and also there are other issues. So it's just interesting that they are sharing power with the ANC and other political parties, but then they go and report a government that they're part of.
And Ntsikelelo, if you're still there, I'm hoping you're still there. Now, this is the second visit to Washington that we are seeing from delegation from South Africa, which the government has again said they have no knowledge of. My question is, does the government of national unity mean even political parties can now just go and represent the government? And how do you think the DA's action will affect the GNU?
Well, it does escalate tensions. It does cause a mistrust, because these people are part of the executive. And in the executive institution, there are confidential issues that are discussed. And one of them is the image of the country. So, I mean, what does this do to the image of the country? If people are part of the coalition or the GNU are framing a negative discourse about it, I mean, why do you pitch your ideas to that audience of the US, but you have your own audience back home? They have an audience in our own backyard. And there are recourses that could be explored in terms of where they can ventilate their discontentment. There are courts, there are places that they can go to and present their side of the story. Then why do you go and pitch your argument to the US? You can only do that when internal court processes have been exhausted. And that has not occurred as yet.
Okay. So how do you foresee the relationship between South Africa and the U.S. going forward? We know that the AfriForum is also in Washington, D.C. as well on what you call an Expropriation Bill.
Yeah, first of all, the issue that has been raised by the Trump's administration is baseless, because he makes a contradictory assertion that there have been bad things that have been done by the leadership of the government in terms of taking away land from white farmers or whites in general. That is not true. But At the same time, he says that he's going to uncover the truth, he's going to investigate what exactly has happened. How do you investigate something, but at the same time, you're making a conclusive statement that there are things that have been done by leadership that should not have been done? So I find that very paradoxical. But I think the fallout really will still cause a tension between the two countries because of what other parties are doing, like AfriForum, Solidarity, and the DA also is escalating the magnitude of that conflict. And the possibilities that because we are part of AGOA, that they might rock the boat and remove us from that arrangement, because we're having access to the markets of the US through our bilateral and other multilateral arrangements, and that might hurt the I just hope that these leaders, they will hit the problem hard and be soft on each other so that they find a win-win situation, because I mean this might have a negative diplomatic consequences.
All right, Ntsikelelo, thank you very much for joining us this evening here on The Matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much.